as I'm gonna be. Oh wow, with the laugh right in the beginning of the episode. Still don't know how to get to work from here, but maybe I never will.
That's all right. I live here and I don't know how to get around.
Oh, okay. How you been?
I've been good. How about you?
Good. You got any topics off the dome?
Well, I was gonna ask you because you just recently went on quite a quest. I understand.
Yes, a quest is a great way of looking at it. Yes, I went on a quest. I rode my bicycle to Washington, D.C. in 5 days, and it was something, man. It was like the most challenging thing I've ever done.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, for sure. You know, it's like 500 miles in 5 days, and
oh yeah, that's a lot. On a bike too.
On a bike.
So you're working the entire time.
That's right. And you know what? Honestly, I thought, you know what, sort of hit me harder than anything. It wasn't like the physical like work that I had to do, but it was like the mental.
Yeah, pushing yourself to keep going.
Just like no, but like my brain being on.
Oh, okay.
You know, because I felt very motivated to get it done.
Yeah.
But just being mentally on for like 12 to 14 hours a day on a bike, basically, you know.
Because you have to be aware the whole time.
Yes, it's a calculated risk every time I get on my bike, right?
Yeah.
And so you can mitigate risk by like being more aware and riding in certain places with less traffic and all of that stuff. But at the end of the 5th day, like when I met Jocelyn in DC, I was just absolutely like donezo.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
And it was like, whoa, my brain is fried. I knew my legs would be fried, but my brain was super fried.
Yeah.
So. But yeah, I mean, there's a YouTube channel for that bullshit. We don't need to talk about that.
Okay, all right. Well, I want to hear a little bit about it.
You can. I mean, you know, feel free to ask me as much as you want. Yeah, I can talk about it all day.
Well, I was just curious if you, some of the places, like, what were some of the places that you stopped in? Then, like, did you see anything cool or?
Yeah, so I went like the first night I stayed in Southbury, Connecticut, which was like kind of nice. Saw some coyotes that day.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
Was in the middle of nowhere, like gravel paths that like used to be railroads that are now just like walking or riding paths and stuff. That was like really.
Oh, that's actually kind of neat.
Really nice.
Yeah.
I did meet 2 kids that asked me to watch their bamboo stick so they could use it for spearfishing. That was kind of a highlight for me. I'm sitting outside of a Wawa. Are you familiar with Wawa?
I have heard of Wawa. I've never actually been to one.
Okay, so it is a premier gas station, convenience store, what have you.
I know they have like hot, fresh food.
Food, like, you know, you order at a kiosk. They make sandwiches. I went, basically where I rode the last like 3 days was like the land of Wawa.
Oh, okay.
Jersey, Pennsylvania.
Yeah, that's what I know it as like a New Jersey thing.
Yeah, so I ate a lot of Wawa, and one day I was like, I don't know, I mean, almost done with the ride, but I still had a few hours left.
Yeah.
So it was about like 10 hours of riding each day, or like 10 hours on my bike at least.
Yeah, yeah.
And these kids walked up with this like 15-foot long bamboo stick.
Oh,
and we're
boy.
like, and I like clocked them immediately. Like they're walking across the street, and I'm like, what the hell is going on with these guys, you know?
Yeah.
And they're like, can you watch our bamboo stick for us? And I was like, what are you doing with it? They're like, we're gonna go spear fishing. It was not a spear.
It wasn't even sharpened.
No, it was blunt. It was like rounded off. Like they just happened to find some bamboo stick in the woods or something. Like it was dried. It had been previously cut down and dried. But yeah, so like that was like really fun.
So were you near a body of water? You must have been, right?
Yes. Okay. Yes, I was. There was like, this was just outside of Aberdeen, Maryland, which was like, apparently that's like, I think that's like a big military area. Like there's a big base there or something.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It was beautiful though, like rolling farmland, streams. So yeah, I mean, I don't think they were like, it wasn't like they were in some random landlocked area. Yeah. But that was like that was fun. And then they're like, can you wait? And I was like, yeah. And then we're inside for so long, and I was like, I don't want to let these kids down, but like, I got places to be, kids. Watching your fucking bamboo stick, and like, everyone walks by, and I'm this, you know, for lack of a better term, jackass in tights, sitting outside a convenience store, like dirty and smelly, you know, and like sitting with a bamboo stick, and like obviously everyone is like, what is this guy up to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was kind of a fun sort of highlight of the trip. And then like when we got to the end, we went to the museums and stuff, and
Yeah.
that was a lot of fun. Natural History Museum, saw a big old megalodon. And
Yeah,
all
I
that
haven't
sort
been
of
there
shit.
since I was a little kid. Like, I went to the Capitol on vacation.
Yeah.
Maybe when I was like 8,
Yeah.
right? But one of the things I remember the most was like the Natural History Museum and the Ancient History Museum and
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff was all really cool. Love to
was.
go back there someday.
It was fun, and like we got around by the train. There's like a local metro that was really nice, like help us get around, and like the food was really good, and
Yeah.
it was like a fun time. All those museums are free, all those Smithsonian museums. So like we did the natural history, we did American history, we did the botanical garden, we did the portraits museum.
Oh, I don't think I know that
Or
one.
maybe it's just like the National Art Museum, but it has like all of the presidential portraits,
Oh,
and the
that's
First
neat.
Lady portraits and stuff. So you got to see some of those pictures that you normally just see online,
Yeah.
like that are way bigger than I thought.
Yeah.
We saw the original Gilbert Stuart George Washington painting.
Oh.
And Gilbert Stuart is a Rhode Island,
Yeah, yeah.
right, like artist, like from South County. And as a kid, at least, I went to like his studio on a field trip.
Oh, that's cool.
And this was it, like, you know, full 6 feet tall George Washington. So that was pretty neat.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you don't really think of it as being that big, but
No, it
wow.
was big. Same thing with like the Obama one that is like very stylized and like has all the green leaves behind him. Like it's
Yeah.
very Hawaiian. That one is huge too.
Oh, wow.
And the Bill Clinton one was really cool. It's almost like it's like an optical illusion. Like
Oh,
when
yeah.
you're up close to it, all you see are shapes and stuff. But as soon as you step back from it, you can tell that it's Bill Clinton.
Oh, wow.
It's very reminiscent of like those like cat eye type of like squint your eyes
Oh,
and see
yes.
something. Very 90s, very Bill Clinton-esque.
Yeah,
so-
like you know the scene in Mallrats,
Mallrats, yes.
where he's
The schooner.
trying to see the sailboat.
Yes. Yeah, it was exactly like
I was never good at those things.
it was exactly like that. I was always way too good at them because I have a lazy eye.
Yeah.
And so I could just like shut my lazy eye off and focus with one eye, and boom, I would see the schooner.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could stare at those things all. I'm that guy in Mallrats. I could stare at that thing all day long
Yeah.
and never see the image.
Yeah, but those are fun though.
Yeah.
I liked those, and as a kid, and I liked the I Spy books. Maybe I liked I Spy a little bit.
Oh,
more.
I Spy was a lot of fun.
Yes, it was a lot of fun.
It was like, you know, it's like Where Was Waldo, but more engaging,
Yeah,
in my
I agree.
opinion.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
So did you see? So you mentioned coyotes. Did you see
Yeah.
any other interesting wildlife on your way down there? Anything?
You know, I got hissed at by a lot of geese.
Okay.
A lot. Like I rode on these like canal paths, which were like old tow paths that like, you know, donkeys used to carry barges like down the canals.
Oh shit.
But obviously it's all roads now and stuff, so they've
Yeah.
turned that path like into like a multi-use path. A lot of geese on those. No, I saw. Oh, actually, this is. I have quite the hot take on this animal, but I will say I saw about 20 bald eagles at one time.
Oh really?
So I crossed over the Susquehanna River
Yeah.
in Maryland, and when I did so at a power plant. So
Oh.
on the north side of the river, it was the top of the falls, and on the south side of the river was like the falls had come down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
And the bridge itself was where the power plant was, like
Oh,
built
shit.
into the bottom of the bridge. And so because of this big steep drop off in the water, at the bottom there were bald eagles, but like hovering 20 feet above the river. But 20 feet above the river was where the bridge was.
Oh shit.
So I crossed the bridge, excuse me, and on the left there were literally like, you'd see them circling and you'd be like, wow, there's like 2 or 3. Holy shit, there's more. Wow, there's even more. And they were like bombing and
oh wow,
circling.
like diving into the water.
Yeah,
and
diving
shit?
into the water. And then I went like over the river and then took a path that followed the river south to get to Aberdeen, Maryland. And there were so many birds, like bald eagles specifically,
Yeah.
but then like great blue herons. So that was really cool. It was like almost
wow,
like an
that's kinda sick.
Autobahn type of area.
Yeah.
But I will say, I think the bald eagle is fucking overrated. It looks cool.
Okay.
It-
All right.
That's it. It's not a smart bird.
No, there's probably way smarter birds of prey. Like,
Especially like, yeah, if you're
compared
just,
to like a raven.
Yes. Oh, well, yeah, for sure. Dummies compared to ravens.
Yeah.
But even compared to like a peregrine falcon
Yes.
or a red-tailed hawk or a red-shouldered hawk and stuff, you know, like they're kind of buffoons. They're obviously very regal looking.
Yeah.
The white heads of the males are what everyone thinks of.
Yeah, yeah.
But I saw a lot of females. I saw juveniles that are sort of like more molted patterns and stuff. But also like the call of a bald eagle is not what you hear. Like when you hear a like you're listening to something, that is a red-tailed hawk.
Yeah.
The sound that a bald eagle makes sounds a little bit more like a chicken. It's like kind of very pathetic.
Oh, really?
And
I don't think I've ever heard the actual call before.
yeah, so I don't know. I didn't. Benjamin Franklin once said that the turkey should be the national bird.
Oh.
But instead, the bald eagle was because it looks more regal. And so I'm going to take the Ben Franklin approach. I'm going to take a lot of air baths. You know, Ben Franklin loves air baths.
That's true.
Yeah.
What a great bird to represent America then.
Yes.
This sort of like pompous, fake,
boastful.
Yeah.
White.
In a way, it should be our national bird.
Exactly. Yeah, it's the bird that we deserve, even though it's not the best bird around. There's fucking way better birds everywhere. Well, thanks for asking, Mitch.
Yeah, no, I was curious.
We're at work.
Hmm.
The coyotes might have been a wolf, I realized.
Oh, yeah?
But because I learned a little bit about the red wolf when I got to, but the red wolf is like almost extinct. Do you know about the red wolf?
Yeah, yeah. I don't
only
think
like
there's red wolves anywhere in the Northeast.
No, they are like, okay, I guess maybe they're like North Carolina.
I always thought red wolves were like, oh, maybe I'm just thinking of like the Mexican red wolf. I always thought it was like a southwestern animal.
Oh, no, the red wolf that I'm thinking of is like a Cape Hatteras area.
Yeah.
But I don't think it was. I think there were coyotes, but they were pretty big and they were pretty cool looking, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they were like running on the path right in front of me, so.
Huh.
All right, we're gonna get to work.
All right.
Hey everyone, Mitch here. Just wanted to let you know that what you just saw was recorded on a different day than what you're going to see next. So basically what ended up happening was there was an urgent matter that made it so John and I couldn't carpool home. So instead, we had to cut sort of this segment short. Instead of just releasing this tiny segment as its own separate thing, we're just going to tack it on to the following day's adventure. So yeah, enjoy.
Hi, Mitch.
Hi, buddy.
We're doing it again. Going to work.
Oh, geez, this is, what, episode 5-ish?
Maybe 5 or 6 or something. I feel like we're getting more work, so it's been a little bit more consistent, which is nice.
That's definitely true.
And I was just noting, not to dox you too much, but that you live on a dead-end road.
Yes.
And I was asking if there was like a reclusive person up at the corner, like a dark, shadowy figure.
Yeah.
And what
Who is not me, right?
Not a, yes, sorry, a second menacing, dark, shadowy figure, yes. Yes. And your answer was no, you don't really know.
No,
You don't know your neighbors.
I don't, so this might shock people, but I'm not exactly a social butterfly type person.
Uh-huh.
I'm somewhat of a recluse.
Yep.
So I'm not really the one who goes around town gallivanting, getting to know everybody on my street.
Right. What do you, before I get into my take on this,
Yeah.
you think of yourself as a social recluse. How do you think of me in that regard?
I would think that you're more sociable than me.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Comparatively, yes. On the grand scheme of things, I don't think I am.
No, I would say that in the split between introvert and extrovert,
Yeah.
I think you definitely would fall into the introvert column. Am I right?
Yes, I would say I'm an introverted extrovert.
Yeah.
I can turn it on. And when I'm around people, I want to turn it on and I want to fucking chop it up.
For sure.
But around people that I, let's say, don't know well, or more specifically, don't care for.
Yeah.
Because there's a good amount of people that I don't care for. Those people, I'm like, nah, you're not getting it out of me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
But you comment on knowing neighbors, and you say that, your folks might know people, probably know people a little bit more, right? Like,
Yeah.
You actually said that they, like,
They
know a lot of
100% know who lives at the end of the street.
So let me ask you, how do they meet them? I recently moved into a new house, like within the last 6 months, and I don't really know my neighbors that well. There's a couple people that I wave to, and like There's people that I get, let's say, good energy from.
Yeah.
And I like maybe want to know more about them, or like I'm more friendly to them. But there's not like there wasn't like a fucking mixer, or there's not like a community
there's
center.
not anything like that, right?
You know, like people aren't coming to me when I move in and giving me cookies like I watched on TV as a kid.
Yeah.
You know, so like how do people? I guess this is a really broad question.
Yeah.
How do people meet people?
You know, I've been wondering that myself, right? Because I mean, both of us grew up sort of in a time before smartphones, or when smartphones were just starting to become a thing.
Yes.
And the internet was really just starting to become a thing, right? So we sort of lived during that tail end of
extremely unique generational thing.
Yes.
To be growing up as the internet is essentially growing up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So like for us growing up, there was more of a social experience in terms of like getting to know your peers by being adjacent to them.
Yes.
Right?
Not online only.
Exactly.
Right. Not online at all, actually.
Yeah.
Right. It was like you're playing D&D together, or you're playing like baseball together.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Or, you know, like you're in
Scouts.
the same class together.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
Because when you're in school.
That's probably
right?
the most common. Maybe I should have led with that.
That's all right. That's all right.
Yeah.
But still, so you know, flash forward to today, in this sort of permanently it's weird. I call it interconnected disconnectedness, because everybody's so connected, right, with online and social media, and you know, when you already have a group of people, it's so easy to keep in contact with people nowadays.
Yeah.
But at the same time, everybody's so disconnected from the wider grand scheme of things, in terms of like your immediate social surroundings, that people just don't talk to each other. Like they just don't. Like when you're out in public, everybody's just on their phone.
Yes, everyone's living in like their own reality as opposed to like the common reality.
In a way, yeah. Right? And this is something that, you know, might shock you as, you know, I just said that I'm like an introvert and I don't want to talk to anybody. But so like, I get the whole phone thing, but I also feel like you're doing yourself a disservice.
It is taking away from the human element.
Yeah.
The human experience of randomly talking to someone.
Yes.
Circumstances happening. Meeting someone in line at the grocery store. You know, like I'm not a man that has dated in like 15 years.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that sphere alone, I'm sure of it, has changed dramatically, because people are way more likely to meet someone on their phone.
Yes.
I think than they are to meet, let's say, a romantic partner on their phone than they are to meet them in real life, right? Like I'm sure bar meetups happen and random
it's
meet cutes or whatever.
See, it's interesting that you say that, because I was talking about that at work with some people last week, because the topic came up, and you know, to me, just with my own immediate social surroundings, the couples that I happen to know that stayed together and are still together are the ones who met in person, or with the one exception, they met online, but they didn't date online. Like they met and became friends online and only started dating later.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So I feel like a lot of online dating, and this might be a bit of a hot take here, but I personally feel like a lot of online dating has basically boiled down now to, there's sort of two types of people on there. There's the kind of people who have been conditioned now from it to basically bounce around from partner to partner, because it's so easy. It's so easy to get a match, especially if you're a really good looking guy or a really good looking girl or whatever, right? And then, you know, you might try to connect with the person, but then something happens where you're not feeling it, or another option comes along or whatever. Right. So you're together with this person for like a couple of months, maybe a year at most, and then you're chronically bouncing around, and it makes you sort of jaded.
Yeah,
and
but
then,
it's also easy to be flighty, and like that's
exactly, you know?
Like, relationships aren't easy, and I'm not saying you need to stick it out with someone that you have no chemistry with.
Oh, for sure.
But, like, relationships are not easy.
Yeah.
And so, like, work needs to be put in if you're looking for a certain thing, right?
Yeah. And then the other type of person is the person who is there looking for something long term, or is looking for deep, genuine connections, right? And the problem is they also end up getting matched with group A.
Right, because everyone's using the same shit. Yeah, but there's got to be apps like just for people who want to hook up, right? And then apps that are just for people who want long term. Is that a thing? Is that like a is that like a toggle within Tinder?
I don't think it is.
You know?
Right?
Trying to fuck or trying to fucking have kids.
Yeah.
Like, those are the two.
No, for sure, right?
Yeah.
But the problem is that, like,
actually, let me real quick, having kids is I'm not. So it's not that. It's not.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I get you. But, like, so the problem is like group A and group B interact so much, and they're so comparatively at odds that they basically both end up cynical, they both end up jaded, right? And it just hurts people's abilities to form connections even more, right?
It's just another reason why I think the internet was a mistake, and that we see way too many faces, and us as humans we still have not evolved to see as much as we see every single day. And I know certain people are like more susceptible to like sensory overload than others.
Yeah.
But like we just are able to see way too many people. We're able to like scroll through people's I mean, that's a terrible thing, that you can literally just see someone's face and like next them on an app, right? Like, yeah. And like, sure, I know everyone doesn't deal with it that way, and like not everyone deals
essentially
that way.
Everybody is a stranger.
Yes.
Right? It's almost like you see a person's face, but you don't really see, for lack of a better term, the face behind the face.
No, you're just seeing the presentation and the presentation alone.
Yeah.
And then when you think about like dating online or dating with apps, like some people are better at presenting than others.
Yeah.
And just in general, like some people are better at interviewing than others, and that doesn't mean that they might be better for the job or not.
For sure.
It sort of speaks to that like social anxiety, that introverted extrovertedness, right?
Yeah.
I've realized like later in life that like I need to be more extroverted in certain situations.
Yeah.
Especially in my job.
Same.
I gotta fucking chat it up with people.
Yeah.
You know? I have to be friendly, or I'm not gonna get work. People aren't gonna want to collaborate with me.
Exactly.
So like there is a time and a place to be able to present yourself. But yeah, I mean, that is just, the internet takes away from humans being human, you know? Like there's so much, you're just buried in your phone, and like I look at my phone way too much. I'm constantly thinking about how much I look at my phone too much, and it takes away from me being able to branch out and be more extroverted, you know?
Yeah.
Like I want to fucking talk to random people anywhere, you know? Like I really do. I like talking to people. And so like when I was on that bike trip, right? I was alone riding. But when I would go somewhere, I would like try to engage. Whether it was those kids with bamboo sticks or like someone who worked at a hotel, you know what I mean? Like, hi, where are you from? What's it like around here? I've never been here, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
People, let's be honest, people love to talk about themselves.
Oh yeah.
I love to talk about myself.
That's a great conversation hack right there.
Just ask people about them.
Yeah.
Mitch, how are you? How was your day? What have you been watching? What, you know, like, how's work treating you? You know, there's so many people.
What did you do last weekend?
Yes.
All sorts of shit like that.
And like,
what type of shows do you like?
That's the type of conversation that I want to have. Not like, well, it was kind of cold yesterday.
Yeah, no.
Like, okay, it was kind of cold yesterday, but like, what did you do?
Yeah.
What did you do? Because you know what I mean? Like it just is so, you know, people talk about small talk. That's what that is, that weather shit. I don't think asking you what you did this weekend is like big talk. We're not talking philosophy.
No, not at all.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're not trying to break down Nietzsche or something.
Right. But it adds to that common person. Like, how can we relate to each other?
Yeah.
And that is a good way to relate to each other, because looking on your phone, I mean, like whatever bubble you're in on your phone, that is not productive for you to think differently.
Yeah.
It's a really good way for you to only think the way that you think, you know? It's like, why why there was no way that Trump was going to win the election again. You know what I mean? It's because you fucking spent too much time on Reddit, motherfucker. You know,
exactly.
Or whatever it is. Like,
right?
Yeah.
Like, I've made the joke in the past many times that we never should have let normal people on the internet.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And I know that sounds sort of condescending, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a broad brush and condescending. Because,
right.
Yeah,
But I think what I really mean by that is it sort of takes, in my opinion, as someone who grew up not just on the internet, but like really on the internet, like from a young age, posting on forums and image boards and all sorts of crazy places, like, you know, NeoGaf forums, Newgrounds, you know, something awful.
You're talking
right?
About, yes. You're
right. So like
old internet.
Old ass fucking old school internet, you're the man dog type shit.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Before memes before there were memes.
Basically, yeah, right?
Yes.
And you know, I've seen a lot of shocking shit in my life on the internet, and I truly think that you have to have, and people should be thankful the internet is a lot more tame now than it used to be.
Yeah, because normies are using it.
Yeah, exactly, right? Which I guess is a good thing in that sense, right? But I truly believe it takes a very certain kind of temperament and strong will and discipline to be able to use the internet and sort of, you almost have to detach yourself and look at it as, this is not really real life.
Yeah, but is that good?
I think this is a great way to cope with what is going on now, right?
Yeah.
This is not really real life.
Yep.
This is not actually how things are. These things might be true. This video I saw might be true, but my day-to-day life does not change, you know?
Well, I mean, that alone.
Yeah.
Is a huge thing.
Exactly.
You know, like,
right?
Yes.
Just because I'm looking now at social media and I'm looking at this person I'm jealous of, or this girl I like, or whatever, and I'm seeing all these flashy highlights of their life, because let's be honest, no one's posted, well, some people blog on like their Facebook or Instagram about their shit day, right? Yeah, but a lot of people are posting their best pics from their vacation, or
it is
whatever.
Extremely skewed. It is
right?
extremely skewed.
So,
and I feel like even when people are talking about their shit day, they're not doing it in like a vulnerable way. They're doing it in a complaining way.
Yeah, or like almost like a comedic, like, you'll never believe the shit that happened to me today.
Yes, right.
Right?
It's not
almost
a
like
truly vulnerable.
Yeah.
I was sad today.
Yeah.
You know, like I had a sad day and this is why shit didn't go right, you know?
Yeah, exactly,
and that's
right?
That's reassuring.
So you have to turn off that part of yourself that wants to constantly consider yourself and compare it to what you're seeing. Because,
oh my God.
Because if you're not if you're not detaching yourself from the fake world of the internet and you're letting it become too real to you, you're gonna lose yourself and it's gonna drive you insane.
Okay, so we should have, there's multiple reasons why I want to say this, but we should have gone to school for philosophy or something. Making fucking commercials. You know what I mean? Because you said the comparison thing.
Yeah.
And this is something that I firmly believe. But comparison is the thief of joy.
That's a great line.
It is the thief of joy.
Yeah.
Stop fucking comparing yourself to anyone else other than yourself.
Yeah.
How are you progressing as a person?
Self-reflection is, in my opinion, if you can master it, the gateway to joy.
Absolutely. Self-awareness is one of the best first steps to learning about other people. Because it helps you learn about how you are. Because if you have a diluted version of yourself, there's no way in hell you're going to be able to understand how someone else is feeling.
Oh, for sure.
And we think, like, even you and I, who like have this podcast and we work together and like we're on a group chat with other people, we only know a fraction of each other, right? We've only known each other for what, six years?
6-ish years.
You know,
right?
I've been around for 36 years.
Yeah.
I've told you stories about myself, you've told me stories, but we've never fully grasped whether it's you being cagey with information with me, or you just not knowing things about me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Life is so complicated, and we're all influenced by like every single thing that's hitting us, whether it's like that person that's walking on the sidewalk over there, or the time that I picked you up, or the weather, whether it's cold or, you know, hot, right? But it's not just, it's every single thing, right? And so yeah, I think it's so silly to compare ourselves to others, but the society that we're in now with the internet and the way that it is, it's so comparative.
Oh, for sure.
And that's a big reason why people only share the good shit.
Yeah.
They only share the good moments at work or the good moments with their family.
Yeah.
Family's hard.
Yeah.
I think familiar relationships are one of the hardest, right? Because like, you know, you sort of like want to love them because they're your family, but like I truly don't believe in unconditional love. Like I think like you need to fucking prove yourself to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's also like, oh, there's the blood element. It's just, it's very complicated, and I think we could sit here forever. But as I'm sitting and I'm seeing more and more people pull into work,
Yeah.
maybe we put a button on this for now. We're gonna go work. Maybe we revisit on the way back. Maybe we talk about something else. But that was a very nice, philosophical,
Yeah, no, I think
meaningful
I think
chat.
so, yeah.
Yes.
I think so.
And that's why I like doing this. Thank you, Mitch.
You're welcome, buddy. Probably shouldn't.
No, we shouldn't say where you live. We can't say where you live.
That way the haters don't know how to find me.
Yeah, exactly.
They have to at least look a little harder than just watching the video.
Yeah, exactly.
They have to like look up my record in like the public records.
Yeah.
Where does Mitch D'Angelo live? Gee, it's so
I wouldn't have even given them your last name.
that's all right. It's in the description.
It's in the description.
They know who I am.
And if they don't, they're fucking missing out.
Yeah. It's time they learned who's who in the fucking zoo.
Thank you.
So but just speaking on that subject a little bit about
What, the zoo?
No. Well, we could talk about the zoo if you want. 'Cause
No,
I
let's talk
recently
about
went
whatever
to,
you want to talk about.
I recently went to Roger Williams Zoo.
Okay. I recently went to a zoo too.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me just get to what I wanted to first say is, I think people have forgotten how easy it is to find like publicly available information because there's no phone books anymore. Like, so the context of this is I was watching Terminator with my friends.
The first Terminator?
The first Terminator, because they have never seen it before.
Okay.
Right? And you know, there's the part where he's looking up Sarah Connor in the phone books, right?
Yeah.
And from that you can find out where they live and their, you know, just their phone number and all sorts of stuff like that. And one of my friends who is the youngest of us, right? He commented that he thought it was pretty wild that back in the day, like all that information was just out there.
Yeah.
Right? But like, I think people have forgotten that it's all just still out there.
It's still out there.
Like you
The white pages are online now.
Yeah, like that information is not secret. Like people always are like, when they get spam phone calls or something, like people, they get like spam
Who
mail.
sold my number?
Yeah, they're like, how did they find me? Dude, it's so easy to find you. It's funny.
You want the AC on?
No, I was just closing that mostly for the noise.
Okay.
Right? So, I don't know, I just wanted to go on a tangent about that. I think people, this goes back to what we're talking about with like our sort of permanently online world that we live in. People lose sight of, like, everybody wants privacy, right? And I get it. I like privacy too, right? But I think people have become deluded into thinking that they have a privacy now that they don't actually have and that they never had.
Yes.
So, you know, this all goes back to what I was saying earlier about you have to have a certain mentality about the internet. And I'm sorry that I'm yelling, but there's a lot of
big diesel truck next to us.
Yeah. You have to have a certain mentality about the internet and online that it's, you know, you have to sort of detach yourself from it, because next thing you know, you're panicking about, you know, how does everybody know where I live?
Right.
When, you know, in the 80s, before the internet, everybody knew where you lived anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, another funny one I think is like people think that like license plates need to be blurred, like in photos or in video. It's like, no, I'm looking at 1 million license plates right now. It's public knowledge.
Yeah.
I can't necessarily type in a license plate and know who's who.
Yeah.
Right?
Like I can understand like wanting it to be blurred in like Google Maps, for instance, or whatever. When you go into like the street view, they blur the
We don't want to
license
see it at
plates.
someone's address.
Exactly.
But out on the street, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They're doing it out of a courtesy.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's the same thing with like in public you can film.
Look, 212070.
Yeah.
Big deal.
I'm not gonna remember that.
No. Well,
I think
we just recorded it.
Well, yeah. maybe we'll bleep that part out.
No, it doesn't matter.
I'm joking.
Because
I'm
it could be 213080. That's a license plate too.
Yeah.
You know? And also I didn't say the state.
Yeah, there you go.
It was Connecticut.
Yeah. Oh. Well, there you have it.
It wasn't Connecticut. I lied.
You can't lie to people on the show.
Okay, it's fine. That in itself is a lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If that's the case,
Yeah.
then we have to cover everything I've said.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. How did you like your visit to the zoo?
So I went 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
And
To Roger Williams, our zoo
yep.
here in Rhode Island.
Yep, I went with my buddy and his wife. His wife is from California.
Okay.
And had never seen the animatronic dinosaurs.
Okay.
So they wanted to go to the animatronic dinosaurs, but for some reason they picked an awful day to go, but decided to stick with it anyway.
What do you mean awful?
The highest temperature that day was like 42 or 43.
Yeah.
And it was raining.
Yep.
And
They really
it was,
just stuck with it.
they just
Their hearts were set on zoo.
It was. We had a bunch of people who were supposed to come with us. They all canceled. Of course, I don't cancel anything because I like to see things through.
Wow. Okay.
So it was me, him,
I just
and
ran
his
a red
wife.
light. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, people run the light over here all the time.
Unbelievable.
It's insane. For those who don't know, Roger Williams Zoo, local zoo, every year for the past couple, I think,
Since I was a kid.
right? Well, they stopped for a while.
They did stop for a little bit.
And then they like brought them back, like maybe within like the past 5 or 6 years.
Right.
Right. They do this thing where they set up like a bunch of animatronic dinosaurs.
Yes.
And you walk through this section of the zoo.
As if they are live animals in the zoo.
Yeah.
They have their own sections and their own little placards
Yep.
that says Velociraptor.
Yeah, and
Yes.
and the funny part is like, it's so Jurassic Park
Yes.
to the point where I think they might want to consult a lawyer.
Maybe that's why they stopped doing it, because I'm pretty sure it started maybe not around the time of the first Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
But definitely by the time of Jurassic Park 3.
Yeah.
And maybe even by the time Lost World came out, the second one.
Yeah.
It was like very much a thing. And there was like this, dinosaur renaissance.
Yeah.
Especially with kids.
Oh, for sure.
Right? Because kids are watching this movie and like, okay, paleontology is interesting.
Yeah.
And there is that sort of like
Well, they started doing
zoology.
that was right around the time where they started like really pushing dinosaur for kids too. With like Disney did the dinosaur movie.
Yes.
Right there, that was when they were pushing dinosaurs for SummerSlam. It felt like, because
Yes, you could get dinosaur fossil kits.
yeah, exactly. Right.
Yes.
They had the Discovery. Was it Discovery Animal Planet? The Walking with Prehistoric.
Yes. I
Right.
don't remember which one it was, but
Right.
you're right.
It was it was Walking with Dinosaurs,
Yeah.
and then they did Walking with Prehistoric Beasts, which was the
Right.
Ice Age one.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, so like they were really like pushing that for SummerSlam. But I forgot where I was going with this. Oh yeah, so the Jurassic Park like rip off.
Yeah, it's
It
basically a rip-off.
is. Like there's a part where there's like the flipped over Jeep.
Yes.
And then there's like a Triceratops
and there's
that
like
flipped over the Jeep.
claws through fencing.
Yes.
That looks like Velociraptor claws.
Yes, and there's
very-
a part where like they've bursted out of the wall,
Right.
and like the electrical box has been attacked by the Velociraptor.
It's the same aesthetic. It's the same exact
Yeah.
aesthetic as Jurassic Park.
And then like when you're almost towards the end, you go into this little pavilion thing, and the lady who, like we're all people in our early 30s walking through, but they still have a job to do where they have to technically act in character, right? So she's like, "Oh wow, you guys made it through. That's good. It's pretty dangerous out there."
Yeah. Yeah.
Playing up the bit.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the end of the Jurassic Park ride at Disney. All right, so the camera got too hot, but hopefully we're good. Possibly just user error, because I did leave the camera in the car all day. And guess what? It's now almost May in New England, and so all of a sudden it's warm out. But,
Yeah. Oh, I'm miserable.
Yeah, Mitch is miserable. But I'm sorry, what were you saying?
We were just finishing up about like the Jurassic Park.
How it's a ripoff.
Ripoff
But did
thing.
you enjoy yourself?
I had fun. My favorite part of the day was I got a Dell's frozen lemonade
Great. Dells.
on this 42 degree day where it was pouring rain.
Right, almost sleeting outside. Mitch is drinking a frozen lemonade.
Yeah, I am built for cold weather.
Yeah.
Which
Let me ask you,
so
what did you
strange.
do? Were you wearing short sleeves?
No, I was, but I did have a light jacket on.
Okay.
Just to be safe, but I was wearing short sleeves.
Yeah.
Was not wearing shorts.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I only had like a light pair of sweatpants. And honestly, the only reason I had a jacket, I think, was because it was raining.
Sure. You don't want to be all wet.
Yeah, exactly.
What about, did you see the other animals too?
Yeah,
or
so
just...
we did. We went around the park too, but because of the weather was so shit, no one was really out. Like,
no one meaning the animals.
Animals, yeah.
Yeah.
No, there were a few people there. Although, you know, you go into like the rainforesty building,
yes.
right? And there's like those animals were having the time of their lives.
Popping.
Yeah. But you know, there just wasn't a lot of activity in a lot of the exhibits.
No more polar bears at the zoo.
No, there's no polar bears there.
Which,
no
like,
more.
at one point were like the mascot of the zoo. They were the logo of the zoo.
Yeah.
There was one named Norman.
Yep.
And I remember that because that's my middle name.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And yeah, no more polar bears. Are there still bald eagles?
Yes, there was actually.
Okay.
There's 2 bald eagles there that can't fly anymore.
Previous episodes of the podcast, bald eagles suck.
Yeah. Actually, I think we might. So we'll talk about that later.
Yep.
I have an idea for that thing.
Great.
But yeah. So there were bald eagles. They can't fly anymore because they lost like half their wing.
Yep.
There's elephants there.
Yep.
The elephants were inside.
Okay.
The giraffes were inside.
Yep.
They're supposed to be getting penguins there soon.
I saw that on the news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The exhibit's still under construction, but I
Yep.
think they're supposed to come in like the summer.
That's nice. Good time for penguins, summer.
Yeah, I'd say so. And then
I was being sarcastic. They like the cold.
I know they do, but like, you know, if I'm forced
like
to suffer,
you.
then so
Yeah,
should
so
they.
should they. Yeah.
Why must I suffer alone?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what else noteworthy that there was. You know, I have to be honest, as a kid, I didn't really care much for Roger Williams Zoo.
Okay.
I always felt that it was sort of small. The animal selection was a little
Yep.
lackluster.
Yep.
And it also sort of had a reputation of being kind of a dirty zoo,
Okay.
right? Like, it just wasn't clean.
Did you like other zoos in the area?
The one I used to like as a kid
Don't
was...
say it. Don't say it. Oh no, he's gonna say it. Go ahead.
Southwick's.
One of the most problematic zoos in America.
As an adult, I see that now.
Legitimately one of the worst zoos in America.
As an
the way
adult,
that they treat their animals.
As an adult, I see that now because I was looking at a map of it, and the enclosures are so small.
So fucking small.
Right. However, when you're a kid, you don't understand these things.
Yeah, and you can also feed the deer.
Yeah, the deer forest was cool.
Yeah.
And
I've been there too. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be holier
No,
than thou.
but like the more exotic animals there, like they had lions and tigers, right? And they had all sorts of monkeys, right? So as a kid, like,
they really crammed them in.
Yeah, they did. They really did, right? You know, they had the capybaras.
Right? It's like
it's
right in.
It's less than an hour.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, as an adult, I definitely see the problems with it now.
Yeah.
So, what zoo did you go to?
Oh, Smithsonian Zoo recently.
Oh, okay.
I went to the Smithsonian Zoo, and there were pandas there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which, you know, are a big thing, but I will say I'm a little bit jaded by pandas because not only did I go to that zoo, I was also, for about 2.5 years of my life, a member of what I would consider one of the greatest zoos in the world, the San Diego Zoo.
Oh, okay.
I was a member of the San Diego Zoo. They also had pandas. So I kind of was, not that I was unimpressed with the pandas, because we did sit and watch the pandas, but I've seen pandas quite a bit where I think most people maybe haven't.
Yes.
But the Smithsonian Zoo was, first of all, very nice because it is free, like all the other Smithsonian museums.
That's actually really cool.
And it was, you know, pretty nice, a little bit bigger than Roger Williams, but like very accessible. It's a little bit further away from the National Mall.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit like uptown, but it is like very nice, and I liked going there. There were red pandas. There were red wolves, which are pretty rare, which are really cool to see.
I'm pretty sure they have some at Roger Williams too.
Really?
I think so.
From what I read, there's only 14 in the world, like in public. Like, I'm sorry,
in captivity?
nature. No, in nature. And in captivity, there's closer to like 140 or something.
Oh, okay.
Because they're trying to rebreed
sense.
And repopulate and stuff.
You know, going back real quick to what we were talking about last time, or the time before this or whatever, with the dire wolf situation.
Yeah.
Right? That isn't more of the dire wolf situation.
Yes.
Like, we should
be helping the red wolf.
Yeah, exactly.
A wolf that is actually still around and is still a part of an ecosystem.
Yeah, like trying to implant like red wolf embryos into like a gray wolf or something.
Yeah. San Diego Zoo, though, if you ever get a chance, highly recommend.
I've never been to that side of the country, but if I ever do find myself there, I do want to go.
Really nice. They have so many cool things, and like I like, this is gonna sound stupid, but I became friends with one of the orangutans.
Oh yeah? I believe it.
And I fully believe, and I think my lovely wife Jocelyn would say the same, that it recognized me.
I believe it 100%.
When I would show up.
They're super smart.
That it would legitimately recognize me, and this was a time in my life where I had a big beard.
Yeah.
And it like would like gesture to its beard.
Yeah.
Like it was gesturing to me, like it saw a commonality in us. You know, because I'm no primate expert, but like they're gonna see the commonality more than they're gonna see the difference, right?
Yes.
We're walking around on two legs, and I had a big beard, and it would be like, it would like walk over, and it wouldn't like, I mean, it wasn't like it was fucking talking to me.
Yeah, yeah.
But it was almost like I see you, you see me, and that was like very nice to go there and like see
that's
this
really
orangutan
neat.
A lot. And
did you ever throw him anything?
no, I did not throw him anything. I think that was against the rules.
Well, I've seen videos online where like orangutans like throw something to somebody.
Okay.
Right? As sort of like a trade. Like they'll throw something in their exhibit, and then like the person will throw like a thing
something
of fruit
back. Yeah. No, none of that. I was a little bit too scared of that, but I love a zoo, and I think there are obviously a lot of things that are like shady about zoos, especially if they're not doing the right things.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I thought there was a huge snake crawling up. No one is going to care about this.
Mm-hmm.
I thought there was a snake crawling up that fence, but it's just like a curly.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I see it.
No one else can see what we see, and I'm not going to turn the camera because this is about what's happening inside the car.
Yeah.
But could be a little zoo exhibit out there.
Yeah. Well,
I love a good reptile house at a zoo.
Yes.
Oh, I saw some tortoises that were as big as, like, between you and me in the front seat.
Yeah.
Fucking huge.
Oh wow.
Yeah. All right, we're here.
All right, buddy.
Thanks, Mitch. Oh, we shake hands. Right?
Yeah, we always shake hands at the end, you know?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so I'll see you on the next one.
See you on the next one, which will be canonically tomorrow.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Bye.
See you in the morning.